Hey y'all, it's your girl Ro here, and I want to welcome you to Baking Up Christmas 2022. I'm back at it again, y'all, and this is day 10 of Baking Up Christmas. Now let's get into this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make some holiday cake pops. These are the supplies I'm going to be using in today's video, and the links will be listed in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. But we're going to get right into these supplies. So here I have some green sanding sugar and some red candy beads. And I have my cake pop tray along with my already pre-made cake pop balls. I'm going to be using some red and green fondant. And I'm going to use this kabuki brush to help out with our design. And my scraper for my mold. And this is a cake smoother and my holly mold that's going to create these beautiful holly leaves. Now, this is my cake pop dough already made. If you want to learn how to make it and how to perfect your cake pops, be sure to click this link in the top right corner and it will take you to that video. So here are my cake pop balls already made and my holly leaves and my cake pop dough. So here I'm going to show you how I make my cake pop balls. All right. So I'm going to be creating a wreath design, the holly wreath design. And with my dough, I like to measure it out. So I'm going to use my scale here. You want to place some parchment paper over it before you zero it out. And make sure you turn it on. It's an easy scale. I'm going to leave it in the link. I'll leave the link in the description box below. But put your parchment paper on and then zero it out. And what I do is just break off pieces of my dough and apply it to the scale until it reaches 0.9 or 1.0 ounce. All right. And this is small enough dough that I'm going to create my wreath with. Now, using this scale is just my preference, and it just helps with all my cake pops to come out in the same shape. You want them to be all nice and uniform. So starting off, I got my dough already measured out. So I'm taking the dough in the center of my hand and smoothing it out. And as I begin to roll and create this ball, I let my hands do the work, okay? And that's important to make these balls. So here I'm mashing the dough, that's smoothing it out. And now I'm working it together, just rotating my hands and allowing the ball to create. So I'm pressing firmly. Okay, see how smooth that is? So when I press firmly here, I lighten up my hands, taking off the pressure and allow that ball to create. All right? And you got a perfect cake pop ball. Now I lay it in the tray and I'm just going to set that to the side. So next up is how to create this shape. And the items I'm going to use is right here. It's very simple. So you're going to take your cake pop balls. You're going to need your sticks, your cake smoother, and I'm going to use the kabuki brush that you see here. And I'm just going to use the tip of it to create the center design. So let's get started. Starting off with the ball, you want to place it on the surface, taking your cake smoother and just smash it down. Now it's going to stick to the back of it. That's what you want to do. You want it to do. If it don't worry about it, as long as you get this nice circle shape. And to size them, to make sure they're the right size, just take a previous cake pop that you created, size it up, and that's how you make sure they're all the same size. Taking my kabuki brush and placing it in the center to create this hole in the center is how I make this particular wreath. They even can be created as donuts, but we're making a holly wreath. All right. So taking your cake pop stick, I'm inserting from the bottom and going right to the top and making sure I'm not going through that top, but it's all the way up there, and that's how far I want my stick to be, and making sure that it's in between these the middle part and the back side, so the stick is not showing. But if the stick do show through the little hole that you make in the wreath, don't worry about it. That's going to be covered up with the chocolate and the sand and sugar. So inserting the stick here, like in between the indentation and the back of the cake pop, so you don't see the stick. But if you do see the stick in the indentation part, don't worry. All right, so now let's make our holly leaves. Starting with this mold, you want to pull it back, and you see that the little holly balls, and that's going to be red. So make sure you pull back your mold and just add in a small amount for that section with the red, because that's the little red holly berries. And then you're going to go over it with the green, and just make sure that green is covered over the full cavity of that mold, and just press in there. And then I'm going to take my scraper and take off any excess that's overlapping that cavity. All right, so it can come out perfectly. And once you have that all in there and the cavity is full, then you can remove it. And just pull it back to remove, and it's gonna pop right out. Now you can pre-make these days in advance so they can be nice and firm when you apply them to your cake pops. Now it's time to melt our candy melts, and I'm using chocolate chameleon in the color green. Melt your chocolate for 30-second intervals in your microwave until it's nice and smooth. Your candy melts or your chocolate need to be nice and smooth. So I'm adding a small amount to create the green. I'm using 2 cups of the candy melts, and you want to have a full cup of chocolate or candy coating to dip your cake pops in. All right, so I'm applying a little bit more green because I want it a little bit darker, and you'll just want to mix that until the green is completely incorporated and there's no streaks in your chocolate or candy coating. So if you notice, a few of my cake pops, I did not insert the stick into my candy coating, and that's just how good my cake pop recipe is. But if you're unsure and not comfortable with doing this method, then insert the tip of your cake pop stick in your chocolate or candy coating, and then insert into your cake pop dough. And be sure to reshape it just in case you get any dents into the shape, and just reshape it back to its original design, and then sit it over onto your tray or cake pop stand so that it can dry. So when dipping your cake pops, you want to make sure you dip in a full cup or full glass of candy coating or chocolate so that your cake pop can be fully covered. And you want to make sure your candy coating or chocolate is nice and smooth so that your cake pop dough doesn't fall into your chocolate or candy coating. Just remember and make sure that you tap and shake repeatedly to remove any excess chocolate or candy coating. If you wanted to leave your cake pops plain like this and not add the sanding sugar, and you get any bubbles, remove them with a toothpick and just continue to shake and tap until the chocolate comes back together. Now, once you've done that, now it's time to apply the sanding sugar and just repeatedly cover it in all the spots that you see here until it's fully covered. When applying sanding sugar to chocolate or candy coating, it doesn't take long to dry at all. And when dipping your cake pop into the sanding sugar, you want to be careful that you don't lose your shape. So do it delicately and just make sure everything is still back intact and that your cake pop is fully covered. And you just let it sit out to air dry. It don't need to be refrigerated because it will solidify quickly. Now that you have all your cake pops finished and prepped, I'm going to take my toothpick and add just a dab of the chocolate on the outside to apply the holly leaf. And you can repeat this step for every one of your cake pops. Now, after you add the dab of chocolate, you want to apply your holly leaves immediately. Hold them for a few seconds until the chocolate solidifies so that the leaf can stay on completely. Adding the candy red beads, you want to follow the same step, adding a dab of the chocolate onto your wreath, and then follow with the beads. And just apply them and they will stick. And if you still see a little bit of the green chocolate, don't worry. You're going to cover that up with sanding sugar after your beads are applied. So here is where I'm applying some more of the sanding sugar just to cover up the chocolate that is showing on the outside. As you see here on the side, just throw on some more sanding sugar and you'll be fine. And then that is your cake pop, all done and complete. All right, you guys, these are so fun to make and I hope you will enjoy them. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to comment down below letting me know how you enjoyed this video. It's your girl Ro about to go, and I'll see you all in the next video.